Hey, 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 chickadees. Welcome into this week's first episode of Mojo Mysticism for the week. This week, we are going to use the Shaman's Dream Oracle by Colette Reed and Alberto Fiodto. And I've been having a blast with this. This is one of my favorite decks, to be honest. So I have a few favorites, as you probably know. And I have been doing some quarterly readings out of this deck recently that have been really deeply meaningful. So I have been enjoying it very, very much. So on that note, if you would like a reading for the third quarter to kind of set your quarter up, just hop over to our website and grab a spot, and we will get you taken care of. So, all right. So let's see what our spirit guides have for us today. So what do we need to know today? First card is already out. This deck has really been very fun. So deeply meaningful. So, and accurate. I'm going to say accurate. So I did my quarterly reading, which was kind of it's interesting. So as we talk more about cycles and especially core, this idea that has been given to me that I'm working through, you'll find that everything is a cycle, right? Which we all know this, right? The whole point of core is to get us to where we understand where we're at on the cycle. So, all right, so 3 cards are out today. So anyway, my quarterly reading was all about being on the cycle. So yeah, so this is an interesting set of cards today. So we have the first card, which is Woodwives. This is about adaptability. So this is Woodwives. And it's card number 64. So second card, we got card number 15. This is the Dust Devil. This is moving out of stagnation. Dust Devil. And then the third card we got was Joyful Muse. This is Inspiration, card number 33, Joyful Muse. And the message they're giving us today is that understanding that we need to be flexible and adaptable in our lives is really the key to moving us out of stagnation. So if you've been in a period of stagnation recently or are currently in one, I had been in one recently that I had been coming out of. So this message for me is like, yes, Molly, this is what you just experienced. So is that being adaptable and flexible, and as well as intentional, which is not necessarily what this card is about, but that's kind of what they're bringing in. But all of those things are what move us from a place of stagnation where we are really dealing with the kind of I'm going to call it the debris field of our life. So we live in storm country and it's storm season. In fact, we have a severe thunderstorm right now. And that dust devil has a debris field, right? And we get caught up in it. And that's when we get stagnant. So the vortex of the storm will pull us in, of that dust devil, will pull us into it and keep us in its orbit until we break free. So adaptability and flexibility is how we do that. We start to look for other things, right? We start to explore other options. We make other commitments based on our discernment. And that's where the inspiration comes in, the Joyful Muse. That's where that card comes in and says, this is the way out. And so adaptability and flexibility is how you relax your mind enough to understand that you can make a different decision. And then the moving out of that stagnation, getting out of the orbit, right, out of the vortex of the dust devil is what happens once we have made that kind of shift to the more adaptable and flexible mind and then introduced inspiration, right? Now we know we have choices, right? So we can intentionally make another choice. So that's the message today. It's a pretty simple one. So if you're kind of caught up in an area or a time or a period of your life where you feel stagnant, you feel stuck, like in the quagmire and the quicksand of something, whatever that something is for you. For me, it was really it was an interesting emotional quagmire that I was in. And it was interesting because I don't have any circumstances around me that would cause me to feel the way I was feeling. So I think I mentioned on the channel last week there was some loneliness there. And then later in the week, sadness showed up. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I was in stagnation. So I was swept up in the dust devil and the tornadic vortex of these emotions and my curiosity around why they were occurring. So that required that I just take a deep breath and I step back and I get that flexible mind back, right? And I realize I have sovereignty and agency in my life. I can make other decisions, which I certainly did very quickly. And then with just a little bit of time, I started to see the inspiration and moving out of it. And now today, I can tell you that I know exactly why those emotions were existing for me last week. And I'll share it with you. So my guides have been very specific that you are going to finish this book. So I've talked about this book and it's almost finished. I have just a couple of chapters to wrap up and then the first draft will be finished and we'll turn it over to my book coach, and then it'll go in for publishing after we do a round of comments with the coach. I was told that the reason that I was feeling the loneliness was because I had basically my guides had basically kind of removed some things temporarily from my life. Okay, so I was not engaging with people as much as I normally would. They were not reaching out to me as much as they normally would. And my guides were very, very clear, as well as some past life. So I had some past life and other life kind of coming and some soul integration that was happening as well, which was very, very significant for me. But all those things combined were why these emotions were arising. It had really nothing to do with specific circumstances so much as it did with achieving a goal. And so they were very clear that they've kind of helped. They're helping me. I've been removing distractions and removing distractions and removing distractions for many, many months in my life now, for many reasons, not just the book, but for many reasons. And they have said that even the people that I've kept close to me, I am being kind of buffered a little bit. So, and they're doing this not to punish me. So they're doing this because I've said yes to the book. I've said yes to this path. And I will always say yes to the book and the path and to all the other books, because there are a few. But I will always say yes to that. And they realized that I was beginning to, I had let a lot of things fall away, but I was still in a place where I was distracted. And so I, called on them to we got to get this book done. How do we get this book done? And their response is, let's put a little buffer around you. Just a little bubble for a little bit of time. Not a big deal. Not permanent at all. And so, but there were emotions that came up around that too, right? But then there's also the emotions coming up from other lifetimes that I'm integrating actively now. So one of them from ancient Greece, and another one that I'm beginning to really work with that feels a little bit more medieval in nature, from that kind of historical time frame. So time's not real, by the way, but we talk about it because it's the frame of reference that we use in our culture. So anyway, that is a lot of information that you probably didn't ask for today, but that is what this is laying out. What the cards are laying out to me today is really literally the process that I've gone through in the last week. And hopefully, if any of you are going through this, it can help you understand it as well. That we get kind of in the vortex of whatever it is that has us distracted. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're stagnated. We don't realize that the dirt devils come, we're stuck with it, and we don't remember how to get out of it, right? So this is the reminder that we kind of, it's almost like you take a, how before you can get a crowbar in something, sometimes you have to use something smaller that has a thinner edge to just get enough room, wedge enough room in something before you can get a crowbar in to really open it up. It's that. So that that first cracking open of something is really the adaptability card. That's what Woodwives is here to tell us today in this context. And then the crowbar opens us up to inspiration, and that joyful muse can come in and really help us take a very specific, very deliberate turn and intention and move in a direction that gets us out of the stagnation. So that's the formula. That's how it happens. That's what they've given us today. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a fabulous day. I love you all, and we will see you back tomorrow with more Mojo Mysticism. Mwah.